to this one.
Okay.
Once you're done, just go back right here. Look, just
Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing 1, 2, 3. Testing. Mic check 1, 2. Testing. Testing. Testing 1, 2, 3. Test. Testing 1, 2, 3.
hey, keep
And welcome in. It's the home opener for Skagit Athletic as they host the defending champs, Yakima United here. Yakima again entering in after a 6-0 record last year after picking up a 6-1 victory over Everett in the championship match. Meanwhile, Skagit went 2-1-3 last season, and they've picked up an early 2-0 Super Cup win over the Salish Rangers. They've shown flashes in going back to last year, including a 2-0 win over Vancouver, but need to compete and perform at a high level if they will challenge the champs here tonight. We are just moments away from the opening kick. Skagit Athletic dressed in the orange and black kits. They'll go right to left. And Yakima United, the defending champs, as we talked about in the pregame, will go left to right. Yakima United, again, undefeated last year, 2-1-3. And the club that is the home side, Skagit Athletic, as we are underway. Skagit Athletic will try and keep their momentum after a 2-0 win over the Salish Rangers in the Super Cup. As we are underway here at beautiful Cedro Woolley High School Stadium, a historic field, and the high school dating back to the 1900s. 1911 is when the high school was founded. As we are underway here, score still 0-0. So Yakima will try and work it out of the back. And it's played out of bounds for a throw. Played on midfield. And here's an attack mounting by Yakima. Turned around as they try and push in from the 18. Here's a chance far side, a rip, and into the wall. It's a throw in far side. And a whistle, and it will go the way of SA. Good defense by Skagit Athletic. They'll try and work it out. And turned over near midfield. Skagit Athletic playing patiently here early in the match. Towards the technical area, and that's taken away. Both teams trying to establish some kind of offense early. And a whistle here, free kick awarded. As we'll see Yakima with the first free kick here. Played quickly. Far side, and it goes over the touchline for a Skagit Athletic throw. before this season. Skagit Athletics' last game was back on July 13th. It was a 4-3 loss to Bellingham United, and it was a game where Skagit Athletic almost completed the comeback, scoring several unanswered goals late in the match. Bellingham United, a formidable opponent and rivals to the north in Whatcom County. In some Eastern Washington, or Central Washington rather, first Western Washington action. So Yakima travels, makes the longest trip to here in Cedar Woolley to take on Skagit Athletic, the rebranded club. So here's a chance into the box, an opportunity, and on the board early is Misael Lopez with the goal to open the match. Yakima leads 1-0 here against Skagit Valley Athletic. Misael Lopez getting the club on the board for YU, and Skagit Athletic will try and answer. That goal coming back at about the 5-minute mark here. Sent up, opportunity, and just too far out of bounds. Skagit Athletic, though, trying to pressure highly. Played downfield. Here's another opportunity for YU. Sent mouth of goal, and again, back-to-back goals by Yakima United. So the pass went right in front of the mouth of goal. And it's 2-0. That one coming at the 6th-minute mark. And it looks like the goal will be given to Negrete. Mario Negrete wearing number 5 here. So already the defending champs coming in with a surge of offense. They lead 2-0 in the match. Throwing far side. Crowd starting to file in here. And the field has seen quite a bit of action. As here's a chance by SA. They'll swing it wide, and that's cut off. Trapped and kept in. And Yakima will end up clearing it out. And it will be a Yakima throw. Long ball send, keeper has to chase. Turnover high up in the zone by Skagit. Doesn't lead to much of a threatening opportunity, but they'll try and work quickly near side. Contact, whistle stays at bay. Here's another opportunity from Yakima. Kicked into the middle. Right there on the ball. And out of bounds for a Yakima throw. So we head over the 9-minute mark here. And Skagit Athletic will be awarded the free kick. There's an opportunity. Fasani carrying. And that's intercepted. Quick counterattack mounting. Contact on the rush. Officials letting them play. Yakima now trying to work another attack, and they lead 2-0 early. And they'll operate from midfield. Long ball, far side. Sent in for Gonzalez. It'll be shielded out of play as the referee goes and checks on the injured player. Way back towards midfield. And it will be a Yakima corner, our first corner here in the season opener, as that swung in the 18 and headed away by Skagit. They'll try and break out to fight through numbers here. Promising attack mounting if they can counter. Fasani, he's bodied out. And the official will sound his whistle. It'll be a free kick. So it's Martinez on the ball. The sun starts to begin to set almost golden hour as that's whipped into the box. Kicked forward. Yakima trying to advance past the high pressure of Skagit. Will be a throw-in along the far end. Fasani pressures. And Yakima United will play it out of the back. It's cut off. Both teams trying to joust for possession. Here's a through ball. Another Yakima opportunity, and what a sliding challenge. Briefly knocks it away. So it was Devot there with the pressure. Yakima having to retreat a bit. And Yakima will slow the pace. Lopez sails one in far side and over the touchline. New rule for the EPLWA this year. No match during the regular season can end in a tie. It will go into penalties, which should result in some exciting conclusions to the matches. And it's a league that has had a storied history here. Skagit Athletic, their second year in the league after rebranding from Morelia de Skagit last year. And right here at Cedar Woolley, they went 2-1-3. Their last match was all the way back in March. It was a 2-0 victory over the Salish Rangers in Super Cup play. And their last EPL WA game was back in July 13th of last summer, where they lost 4-3 to Bellingham. As Skagit will try and work out of their own end. It's dispossessed. Played over the touchline. Yakima throw. As we're into the 14th minute of play. Choa on the ball. Skagit a lot more compact, a lot more discipline shown on the defensive side. As they've kind of stifled Yakima a bit after Yakima United went up 2-0 early. A goal in the 5th and a goal in the 6th minute. As here's an opportunity, that's thrown off and goes over by the dressing rooms on that far side. Beautiful Saturday night here in eastern Skagit Valley. And we're pleased to have all of you tuned in from wherever you are on the Skagit Athletic Network. And the whistle will sound. The foul called against Skagit Athletic. Be a free kick for Yakima. Here's Yakima on near side. They try and break out. Fasani with the turnover. Plays it wide, but right into the middle. And they'll retreat back with the keeper. Skied over far side. And the race is on here, in towards the net. The ball trickles through for the 3rd Yakima goal. So it was number 12. The number's not marked on the roster here that I was given in the pregame. Nonetheless, it's a 3-0 Yakima lead. With that goal coming at around the 17-minute mark. Might be Farias. As here's another opportunity for Yakima, sent high and wide. Goal kick taken along the ground, sent high. Fasani. Hard to challenge. Bodies end up on the floor against Skagit Athletic. Here's Yakima. Pressure coming. Fasani giving chase. Farias on the ball. An opportunity again, deflected. as Skagit will try and advance from their own end. Turned over, however. Another long ball sent in towards the Skagit net. And Yatsuda be there for the save. Kicked forward. On the knock, Martinez. He'll try and battle. Nearly wins 2 challenges, but it's Yakima who'll come up with possession at midfield. Through ball's cut off. Sent back up. Played back to the Yakima keeper. Yakima will try and work it out of their defensive side. Coming back to center and then swing to the near end. Good challenge applied. Here's an opportunity. It was Viejar that almost had a look at net. Instead, another counter by Yakima. They'll be snuffed out and sent back up. Yakima having to regroup a bit towards the midline. Fasani on the ball. Well, they tried to connect with Fasani on a through ball near side, instead over the touchline for a throw. Yakima leads 3-0 here in the 21st minute. Contact applied. Here's a chance by Skagit Athletic, and that's quickly blocked and sent the other way. To Becker. He's on the ball. They'll get it quickly. Here's an attempt from outside, bobbled briefly. As that was a promising look on that. Looks like it was taken by Viejar. Viejar will pressure now. Wind starting to pick up here. As Yakima now, they'll threaten. Negretti tries to carry into the 18 and turned off. And they'll try and play it from the far back. Yatsuda will poke it ahead. Up to Viejar. And to the back again. Tightly pressured Negretti there. To Becker. Now Yakima will regroup. The sun becomes lower and lower to our west, the left of our broadcast location. Here in scenic Sedro-Woolley, the North Cascade Mountains to our right, with the foothills and just a cresting of snow up at the top in the background. Here's another opportunity. And nicely challenged and taken the other way. Martinez. Skagit patiently trying to work it out of the back. Tried to connect with Fasani. Both teams kind of playing a tennis match of tactics as they're satisfied to retreat and then attack forward. Hard challenge as Yatsuda gives chase. Betancourt Cruz now. Got to Yatsuda. Skagit looking for an opening. Long ball sent down and headed away before it reached Fasani, the intended target. Substitutes prepare to enter. Luis Gaspar at the midline. As it will be a Yakima corner. And substitutions will check in. Into the game is Luis Gaspar. And he will replace Noe Betancourt Cruz. As Jesus Ramirez begins to warm up. And we're ready for play with the corner here. Headed away. And knocked forward. Over the touchline. And it will be a Yakima throw here. Foul whistled, free kick taken quickly, but too quickly for the referee's liking. Let's pull back. Misael Lopez on the ball for the free kick. Already had a goal here. He scored the match's first goal in the 5th minute as it's headed over the crossbar. Another threatening chance in tight. There's Yatsuda getting the started net. He'll play it out from his back line. Tough challenge. That's won by Yakima. An advance forward, rocketed in towards the net, but just wide. Immediately saw Yatsuda was out a little bit too far and tried to roll the dice there. We're into the 28th minute. And a whistle here. The official will come in. Substitutions will hold till the next opportunity. So it'll be a free kick after the foul, VAR. Get some distance under it. Opportunity on the outside of the 18. Fans wanting a handball. Martinez with the flick over to Fasani. A free kick awarded. This could be a great opportunity for Skagit on the outside of the 18. So a good opportunity via the free kick for Skagit here on the ball already. He's Ian McCrory. One of two takers there. As he paces off his steps. Referee with some final instructions. As Jesus Ramirez will check in. Corey shows, and that's fired into the wall. And the follow-up here will be sent out. Yakima now. They'll try and break out. Sent near side. Dispossessed. And a whistle and a free kick after the foul. Ball fired into the defender. Nonetheless, Yakima will keep possession. They'll work it back into the middle. Good challenge applied. Yakima still keeps possession for now. Long ball sent in. Negretti there. And over for a Yakima throw. So we're into the 32nd minute. Nice piece of defending by McCrory. Played back to Yatsuda. Plays it mid-pitch to Bucker. And sent over the crossbar again, this time off the American football upright. And out of play, corner kick upcoming. Mario Jacobo having a look on net. So there's a corner along the far side. Sent in. Ball still loose. Negretti tries to get a foot on it. And that will result in a Yakima throw. Fasani pressuring. And Yakima will have to retreat a bit as they sail it forward. And there's a foul. And an extra talking to by the official. There'll be a free kick here. Whips it forward. Keblo Yatsuda leaping for the save. Another shot on frame, however, for Yakima as they lead. Skagit still looking for their first goal, and it would be the first goal of 2025. In their last 3 matches going back to last season, the 4-3 loss on the 13th, that came after a 2-0 win over Vancouver before back-to-back losses against the Surf and Everett Jets. Everett Jets would appear in the championship match against Yakima United. United would take the EPL crown for 2024 as there's the offside whistle and a shot on net for good measure. Offsides, free kick taken quickly, McCrory. And rocketed downfield. Fasani. And last off Fasani and over the touchline. Yakima will try and advance from that far side again. They've been successful in the through ball. Here's an opportunity, though, from a successful Skagit challenge. And tried to connect to Fasani. Instead, it skirted out of play. Nonetheless, a Skagit corner upcoming. The lights have been turned on here. Some Saturday night action to open the EPL season. Corner whipped in. He comes back outside. Service again. Fasani gets ahead on it. That falls out of bounds for a Yakima throw. You like the idea of multiple opportunities whipped into the box by Skagit. So foul called against Skagit. McCrory shaken up. And I'll be taken quickly on the restart. Yakima again threatening. And that's knocked out of play, Skagit throw. DA thrown along the far side, the home stand in the background. Handball's whistled, quickly taken. Martinez sails it in for Fasani, who controls. Fasani's pushed off the ball. Chasing now is Martinez. And we'll see our match's first yellow card. shown in the 39th minute. And it will be shown to the first goal scorer of the match, Misael Lopez. That will come in the 39th. As Yakima tries to plead their case unsuccessfully. And we're ready for play. Play was restarted via throwing after the yellow. Skagit trying to make something happen. And they'll have an opportunity here. As chugging into the box was Ramirez, another yellow shown. So back-to-back yellows in quick succession. Jose Marquez, the recipient of the card there. The ball will be placed just outside the 18. Ramirez on the ball. As the Walls paced back. And Skagit now with a great opportunity as they trail by 3. Ramirez whips it forward off the wall. The wall doing its job well. Still in play. As Yakima now will try and counter. As Ramirez. Aggressive challenge, a free kick awarded by Skagit. As the technical area chirps a bit. Nonetheless, it's Edwin Viejar on the free kick. Viejar puts a right foot in, tries to swing it wide, and an undercut will be a free kick for Yakima, which is the chagrin of the fans on the other side. Pretty good crowd filing in here. Saturday night soccer action, EPL Walk. It's the season opener. We thank all of you for tuning in on tonight's match. Another opportunity quickly. Shot put on, but a great shot block applied by Yakima. It's back into the keeper's mitts. Booted forward mid-pitch. Fasani pressuring. Marquez tries to advance it. Martinez and Fasani pressuring highly for Skagit. And they have to retreat back to the keeper yet again. They'll try and go near side this time. Martinez, diving challenge, able to poke it away. And sent up. Good battle between Lopez and McQuarrie. Back to Yatsuda. Knocked around far side to Bucker. And it's a foul against DeBucker and Skagit. Free kick upcoming. Lively crowd here, cross pitch from our broadcast location. And it will be a Skagit throw. Fasani chasing. Good challenge, knocks it away. Martinez pokes that away. Ramirez chasing. And sent up. Long ball attempt again for Yakima. As this time a foul will be called against Yakima United. Taken quickly on the restart, but pulled back. We've reached the 45th minute mark. There's Martinez. Yakima trying to get one more goal on the board late here in the first half. And that's sent out of danger. And over the touchline for a throw. Into the back. Everyone up forward for Yakima. And they'll retreat back as Skagit will step forward. And that's the end of the first half of action. Yakima up 3-0 when we return for the second half of tonight's EPL season opener. We'll be back soon after this.
and figuratively, and it's a real challenge for them to show their skills at the end of the match. So we're really high on that as something that sets our league apart.
And we're here talking with League President Tim Bush. What else new to the league, or kind of what's the current state of the league, if you would, for EPLY?
One of the newer clubs is Bellevue Athletic, which plays in UPSL, has put a second team, another Bellevue club in with us, thanks to Anastasio and Laura Rivera, great folk. I'm trying to think who else is the new teams. Man, I got a memory test. Anyway, we've had some teams rebranded. One of our clubs, which is down in White Center, used to play under a different title. Now is Rat City, and so we're expanding and having more presence of our league in the Seattle area. We're a statewide league, north to south. On the west side, we go from Yakima to Vancouver, Washington, where I'm from originally. And going east to west, or west to east, we go from Olympia, Seattle area, all the way over to Spokane and Yakima. So, and it's just a really interesting time, I think, for adult amateur soccer. There's so many different opportunities. We've been around for 12 years, and we're in a growth mode. We have 8 premier teams, and we have 5 teams in our championship division. We're modeling kind of what you see in the UK. Nobody wants to play in a second division, so they want to play championship. And so we're about to the point where we're going to be doing promotion and relegation.
Wow.
So, obviously the better teams come up and then the other teams go down. But one of our slogans that we used throughout the years was Hometown Heroes, and that's what we try to create. Because all of these players that are playing for Skagit grew up here, played in high school here, played in the leagues here. Same thing with the big family in Yakima. And they draw all the way down into Tri-Cities, Columbia Basin's men's programs, one of the best community college programs in the state. And so it's just a great opportunity for kids to continue to play and all the rest.
It is great to see some of the familiar faces. You'll see coaches and players like Rich Henderson with Bellingham United, also pulling double duty with Skagit Valley College.
Yep.
And some players from SVC out on the pitch here tonight. So where else do the players come from? You mentioned CBC, we've talked about Skagit, but where else have they come from? What kind of success stories have we seen from some of the EPL players?
They're generally, amateur players. I don't think a ton of them are going to be picked up by professional teams, and I mean that not in a bad way, but we've had players from Whatcom Community College and a whole variety of different backgrounds, some that have played at Everett and all the rest. And one of the newer clubs that we've added in our championship division is Everett FC, which is actually a youth club. And one of the things we've done, because I do a lot of work with United States Soccer Federation, we've talked for 30 years about how do we do a transition between youth players into adult play. And we called it Bridging the Gap, and we've really struggled to do that because, we're kind of on parallel planes. But the folks from the Everett Club called me and asked if they could put a club in, and we would call it overage, above 18 and above. And I think it's going to open up another opportunity for us to find some of those kids that may not have an opportunity to play when they're done, if they're not playing college ball as well. Because my thing is to provide opportunities for everybody, whether it's in the league, because I'm also the president of the state association. And we have about 7,000 players around the state, so we're always trying to grow our brand. And the adult association we belong to, which is United States Adult Soccer, our motto is soccer your game for life, and in so many different ways.
Very good. Well, we've been joined by League President Tim Bush here on our halftime show as Yakima currently leads Skagit 3-0. We'll be back with the start of the second half after a quick And welcome back. We are underway. Second half of action between Yakima United and Skagit Athletic. Home opener for Skagit Athletic, and really the season opener for the league as a whole. Most teams getting started next week in their fixtures. And we're underway here. And half number 2, as that's batted out of bounds. Skagit Valley will switch. They'll attack left to right. A whistle blown. It will be a free kick off the restart here for Yakima. Sun starting to set and a bit of a chill coming in. Getting a beautiful day. As we're back into play. And it'll be a goal kick here. So Yakima will try and play it out of the back. And as we enter the second half of action, we're again joined by League President Tim Bush. And Tim was on during our halftime show. But Tim, you want to talk a bit about the Super Cup, which has become really quite the celebrated tournament that's gotten some good factions involved.
Yeah, thank you. The Super Cup is a tournament we founded through the State Association about 6 years ago, and it's based upon the FA Cup model that you see in England and in many countries, where any club, any men's club, adult club, is eligible to come and play in the tournament based upon paying the same fees and all the rest. And specifically with Skagit Athletic, they have a very big match next week. They participated in the Super Cup tournament last year. This year we have 16 teams. And they played one of the toughest clubs, amateur clubs in the state of Washington, a club called FC International from Olympia, that have a number of players on their club that had played professionally in Central and South America. And last year, Athletic ended up losing their Super Cup match to the club 4-3 in one of the best matches I saw. So if you're around and you want to see some good adult soccer, come out to Cedar Woolley Stadium next week at 7 o'clock. It's worth it.
And what day is that, Tim?
It's next Saturday.
Next Saturday already. So well, you have an opportunity to see some great action. And we talked about as we got underway in the second half how most of the teams kind of have their fixtures and openers next week. So kind of a soft opening with the solo game tonight and then going right into Super Cup and then also the first full week of EPL Wall play.
Yeah, absolutely. And what makes Yakima United has had some great success both in the Super Cup and our league. And last year they won the EPL WA Championship on a Saturday afternoon in Everett in July. And then the following day they beat a team from Tri-Cities in Yakima to win the Super Cup. It was one of the most extraordinary things that I've seen. Real talent and real skill to do that in a 24-hour period.
And talk about endurance, too. So the conclusion of the Super Cup, talk about that. How does the championship game look for this season?
We have a number of clubs that are still active, and Bellevue Athletic is one of them, one of the top teams in the UPSL. And FC International is a very strong club. We have some other clubs from around the state. So we have about 2 more rounds. Our final is going to be the 2nd or 3rd week in July.
Okay, very good. Has a location been decided for that championship match?
My intent is to actually host the game here in the Valley.
Great.
Probably the 2nd or 3rd week of July, and hopefully I'll be with you as well, Merrick.
I look really forward to that, Tim. During the halftime, you mentioned the Champion League. What are some of the teams that are calling that level home here?
We have, you're doing my memory test. We have Skagit Premier League has a club. La Franca has a club. And also the Salish Rangers are the 3 clubs from the Skagit Valley.
Nice.
We have Everett FC and also Bellingham United 2. So that great tradition from Bellingham and Richard and Mark and all those folks, they have enough players to put a team into that 2nd division.
And Bellingham, of course, one of the initial and original members of VPLY. And you're right, they've built such a tradition now playing their home matches at Wacom CC, which is a really nice venue and perfect for, it's easy to pack that place out, especially in such a nice surface.
I think they're going to play, in talking to Mark Ronnie and Jacob Sorensen, I think they're going to play some of their games out at Phillips 66 Park.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Nice facility as well here. And pretty good crowd. We talked about they kind of showed up a bit late, but they filed in nicely across here in Cedar-Woolley.
Yeah, I had a couple fans, people I haven't met, which is pretty unusual. I've lived in the Skagit Valley a long time, but that asked me who I was, which is a good question. But I explained to them that I ran the league, and they said, this is so much fun to see this caliber of game. And again, I mentioned it before, we really do want to see hometown heroes. We want to see our folks, our kids, be spotlighted. And one of the things that we plan to do is, as a statewide league, is have a women's division next year, and would hope a number of our clubs would be fielding those teams as well.
That would be extremely great. As yellow card shown, there's a bit of rough stuff happening at midfield. It will be coincidental yellows.
I would agree.
And it will be shown there. There was some jawing and some shoving, but whenever you get 2 competitive sides like this in the first time, I don't know, sometimes tempers run a bit hot, but it's been a pretty good match thus far here. So the women's division is in the plans for next year. So any idea of what sides or clubs will be featured in that?
I do know that we have several of our clubs. I know Mark Ronnie will put in a club,
nice.
Likely Vancouver Victory, which is in Clark County, Southwest Washington. I would think that some of our clubs in Eastern Washington, we are looking to expand in Eastern Washington, potentially getting a club in Wenatchee. We think we have a line on a club in Quincy. And so we're trying to grow that so we can run divisional play because the travel is long, and if you're going up and down I-5 between Bellingham and Vancouver, it's not even really the distance, it's the traffic that's really difficult.
Absolutely. Yeah, so, and making it, by adding some of the East Coast clubs, making the travel, you're right, a little bit shorter for sides like Yakima over there. They're kind of on an island. Of course, Spokane is up there.
Yeah, Spokane Surf, yeah. And, again, we're connecting with more of those large youth clubs in Eastern Washington. They're a really good base to find players.
As Eli Juarez will check in. And before that, it was the center official having a conversation with the far AR just to get everything sorted out on the cards. And a great officiating crew on hand tonight. And you have some experience, huh, Tim, officiating soccer a bit?
Yeah, a bit. I've had a badge for 48 years.
Wow.
And in my 70s, I've slowed down a little bit, but it's one of the things. I played badly as an adult because I didn't start playing until I was an adult. But I still love to referee, and I'm at an age where I'm an assistant referee more than I'm in the middle, but it's still something that's really important.
As we see some drama on the far side again.
Yeah.
AR and players converging. And they'll get everything sorted up. The lively crowd coming alive and making their presence known along that far side, and you gotta love it.
I believe the fans are trying maybe to light a little fire under the home team.
Absolutely, and another yellow card will be shown here. Coincidental yellows again here as well. And Tim, as we talk about the officiating too, the EPLWA is a great development system as well. Kelsey Harms was in attendance earlier, and she worked up through the levels as well and has become kind of one of the senior officials here. But just talk about that with the role that the EPLWA plays in developing referees and officials.
And Kelsey Harms, who grew up on Camano Island, and I know her brother and her mom, who were also officials. She's been our assigner for the last 3 or 4 years and is an outstanding person, does great job in assigning officials for matches. And she just, on our new website, which is tied into the Whistle, the Western Indoor Soccer League, she wrote an article about how EPLWA had last year had 13 of the 16 national referees in Washington do our matches. And she also talked about using the league. It was specifically important as a female referee, her perspective that it was a welcoming place for women to work as well. And you can see that in Europe, and you see it in MLS games. I have season tickets with the Sounders, and no one ever goes, oh, gee, there's a woman there. And there are now major matches that female referees actually are in the middle of. So, yeah, we know that's one of the things that I talked about in sharing at the national level. What our league does is we develop referees as well as developing players.
And we've seen several of the officials, even the ones assigned tonight, work several levels, whether it's NCAA, Division II, community college.
Right.
They really try and get as many reps, and you can't have a match without the officials, so we're always grateful for them as there's a discussion. The near side AR ended up popping his flag to have a discussion with the center. And they'll try and sort some things out as some drama and tensions have arisen.
Well, I would say, here. And again, the last thing you want to do is critique the referees, but I think this is a sign of maturity that
Absolutely.
Rather than trying to control the match simply through yellow cards, the AR, they're having a discussion, and everybody is trying to get folks to tone down because there's a lot of passion. And it's not for me to sort out who's right or wrong. It's just there's spirit to the game, but you've got to contain it. And so,
and with that experience too, we talked about how they have worked several different levels, and every match you gain more and more insight, which we're so grateful here. As they'll go over to the technical area now of Skagit to explain. And yeah, it's been a pretty good match here. 3-0 the early lead, but I don't know, Skagit's done a pretty good job of keeping their shape defensively, and we haven't seen the same clear-in shots on net and any of the threats like we saw in the first really 10 minutes.
I've seen them play a number of times last year particularly, and they tend to be a second-half club, so they've settled in. And again, it's first match of the season, first competitive match. So we'll just see when we get this thing started what's going on.
And we may have a crowd control issue as
I believe that's probably the case.
Head coach is stepping over there to the supporter section. And this has been a surface that has seen a lot of action today, Tim. We started out with the JV game between Mount Vernon and Cedar Woolley, then the varsity game, and then capped off with the nightcap. And I see some familiar faces on the other side that have stayed and went and got something to eat and then came back, so they made a day of all the soccer, which is great to see.
Absolutely.
Especially the youth players. And we have seen across the history of the league, we've seen several players, young players, get an opportunity, whether community college or even some high schoolers that have gotten some runs as well.
Absolutely.
So it's great to see. In that match earlier was a county rivalry between Mount Vernon and Cedar Woolley, and Mount Vernon got the best this time as that's cleared away. 5-1 was the score. Eli Nadikin had 2 goals and celebrated one of them with a backflip, which is always exciting in high school. As there'll be a throw in here. Looks like they have everything sorted out.
Again, I thought very professionally handled.
Absolutely, yeah, and everyone seems content and happy with the decision. Which is, I don't know, it's always difficult. I don't envy sometimes the officials, because whatever call you make, usually 50% of the venue is going to be upset, but now everyone seems pretty happy. So great mediation.
Yeah.
And Yakima, again, they had to make the long trip over here to start the EPOWA season. And you would think, too, with being double champs, both Super Cup and EPOWA champs, that they're going to see every team's best match. It's like the New England Patriots of the NFL with Brady, or Mahomes' Chiefs, as it draws everyone. Everyone tries to play their best. Man United back in the day, they had a target. And so far, it's been all Yakima, but we have not seen some threats from them. We've seen Skagit trying to control the game a little bit more, patient approach.
Yeah. Well, and it's critical, I think, with the speed that Yakima has to get the match slowed down as much as possible.
And I know you appreciate the chess match between the managers and coaches here. Some tactical decisions, and there's some flair off the ball. Rocketed back upfield. One thing Yakima does really well is they defend the midline so well. So rarely you'll see a ball chipped out of the zone too far. As here's Fasani. And McCory fouled, and the ball sent away. And we'll see the ref go to his pocket again. And he will be shown a yellow card. That is his second. So Lopez will be sent off, drawing the red. He still jaws as teammates run in to separate. And the center ushers him off. So Misael Lopez, his night is done. He had the match's first goal. So he goes into the technical area. So Yakima having to play a man down after, or there will return a player here. Number 8 is checking in.
I'm sure his coach is not going to be pleased, because you have to keep your composure. You get dinged a little bit at the end of the play, but you're controlling the match predominantly. You just got to pick it up and go. But I'm sure on the trip back to Yakima, he'll hear about it.
As Luis Haro prepares to check in. And Haro subs back in. And he'll replace David Ochoa. We'll take a seat, and we're ready for play. Skagit looking for some more opportunities. They had a couple promising ones off set pieces late in half number 1. And it is a cool environment, Tim, and not every venue has it, but whenever you get to play under the lights, it's just a different feel, and
it is.
Very nice setting here. Friday night lights for the high school football team's pretty special here in Cedar-Woolley, and it's neat that a lot of the games are scheduled for 7 p.m. first kicks for Skagit Athletic this season.
Yeah, I think clearly Felix and his team decided that made a lot of sense.
Trying to make an environment. It's a family affair. He has several of his family members. It was wife Maya running the concessions over there. Does a great job, but it really is an event in a party atmosphere. As the ball's loose at just outside the 18, swung in. Here's an opportunity, and they'll punch it back out to Bucker. Skagit has numbers. They'll try and thread it back into the 18. Ramirez, far side. Chasing up and just sent wide. What a great opportunity. The best of the match thus far. So it just skies over. As it looks like that was Danielle Martinez getting a foot on. And here's a corner for Skagit. Try and follow up the opportunity. Whipped in, back post. And cleared out of danger. So back-to-back opportunities in tight for Skagit here. You talked about, Tim, they're a late match team, and we saw them nearly complete the comeback in their last regular season match back on July 13th last year, where Bellingham United came to town, took a quick lead, and Skagit Athletic, or Morelia de Skagit at the time, before the rebrand, scored 3 unanswered goals. It was pretty exciting on a Sunday afternoon.
That's a hallmark of the team. They don't quit. They keep coming. And certainly with the man advantage, that's got to give them a little emphasis and push forward to try to pull a couple goals back, see if they can get it tied up at minimally in regulation.
It will be interesting to see how Yakima regroups with this man advantage, because they are a team that likes to spread the ball and push it with speed, but harder to do with 10 versus 11 men. Soren Hansen with a nice challenge. And there's a whistle and a foul. Felix Cruz, one of the operators of the club here, has done a really nice job in incorporating some local flair with some sponsors as well.
Yeah, and obviously very unique jerseys as well.
Yes.
With the black and the orange.
Yeah, the orange flowers with the black and orange kits, and a nice rebrand rather, going from Morelia de Skagit to Skagit Athletic, and they went with a nice tulip season windmill, which tulip season just wrapping up. I don't know about you, Tim, but tulip season seems to turn Mount Vernon, Skagit Valley into looking like New York or Los Angeles with the traffic.
I agree, yeah.
A sight to see for sure.
The flowers are beautiful.
Absolutely. There's a long ball giving chase, the keeper all the way out, and that's kept in. Another opportunity, and the cross intercepted by the keeper there. So you talked about, Tim, a late match team, and we've seen 3 excellent opportunities.
Yep.
To keep the pressure high. Soren Hansen on the ball. Nifty challenge, kept in. There's a battle. As we'll see for the first time here, a few new players, but one player that hasn't taken a break that's been kind of the spark plug and workhorse is Fasani, wearing number 9 up there at the forward spot. As here's an opportunity again. On the ball is Ramirez. He'll take it outside the 18, still controls. Trying to find an opening. So that's Caleb Schultz, wearing number 8. into the match for the first time here in the second half. And that's rocketed off a defender now. Just for a goal kick, so it steered clear of any defender here. It's the goal kick sent upfield. High pressure again. Fasani giving chase. Physical defending, they're able to play out of it. There's a whistle and a foul. And that's his last warning, as he illustrates. As the ref has a conversation with the Yakima technical area. And here's a free kick. Both teams will try and sort it out. And it looks like it's been just that. And Schultz ushers it out. So for Skagit, Tim, to try and mount a comeback here like we've seen them do, what do they need to do now?
They need to possess the ball a fair bit more. One of the things that you're seeing with Yakima is they're spreading the ball, passing back, trying to maintain possession. They've had some good chances, and, you have to start with one. So if they break through, I suspect they'll get a couple more, at least one more.
As Michael Gonzalez prepares to check in. Gonzalez will enter here. So it will come down to possession. And we talk about here Skagit Athletic calling Cedar Woolley home, and I think the city is pretty happy too. I was out and about in between matches and saw several players at several of the local businesses and fans as well supporting it. So
that's
it's
wonderful.
Great to see economic boost for sure. A lot of these towns too. After high school sports, Cedar Woolley, there's not a lot happening aside from the Logger Rodeo and then of course Skagit Speedway, but that's down towards Alger, so it creates, you're right, a fun local environment and an event for fans to partake in.
Absolutely, yeah.
We see more and more, and it does seem like soccer in the Skagit Valley has been growing more and more popular, of course, with Skagit Valley's success, but also you see a lot of youngsters with Northwest United.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty good enrollment.
No, and I would say I've worked a couple games with the boys from Cedar Woolley High School, and I think this year's club is as good as anyone I've seen in that. The progression has been really quite amazing. There was a time back in the 90s when many of the players, the boys, kind of tried to transition from American football, and sometimes a little more successfully than others. And so, no, the skill, and it's really recognized as, it's, to most people, it's the universal language of the world, honestly.
Yeah, and you mentioned too, Cedroli, they on their roster they had several multi-sports athletes. Their starting goalkeeper, Eli Roth, quite the basketball player, as well as that skied over. And his dad is also the goalkeeping coach. And that wouldn't have been a sight at a lot of high schools to have a dedicated goalkeeping coach, especially in markets that aren't traditionally soccer markets.
Yeah. Well, it's an interesting thing about the change with youth sports has been specializations. And a lot of times when you look at Casey Keller and the other American goalkeepers that had some of the early success playing in the UK, they came out of a multi-sport background. Casey Keller's dad apparently was a fast pitch guy down in the Olympia area, and so many of the folks. So it's interesting, and so I'm glad to see kids get that opportunity.
Yeah, I remember an early interview with women's soccer legend Michelle Akers, and growing up in Pittsburgh, she wanted to be a wide receiver and ended up playing a lot of American football as well in her youth.
Yeah.
And then now look at her, some of those same skills, and we've seen some players with run and kind of the acuity for the ball show some of those skills.
Well, one of the things I always think is interesting when you watch features about NHL teams, oftentimes they're kicking a soccer ball around for, to remain limber, and all the rest.
Suey is what a lot of players will call it, and you'll see even down in the junior ranks as well with the Everett Silvertips down the road, you'll see a soccer ball warming up in the tunnel, and it's great hand-eye coordination. And
absolutely.
You look at the soccer players on the pitch here tonight from both sides, and it's on full display here, the skill and talent. There's a substitute on, as that's Miguel Anthony Portillo checking in. And even in some areas, too, you've seen hacky sack make a bit of a comeback, but seen a lot of soccer players hone their skills with that. Ooh. Chipped forward, again cut off. Portillo. He'll use his stride to get it up to Fasani. And Fasani ends up on the ground, and the ball ends up out of bounds over the touchline for a throw. It's the ball all the way back to the throws net here at Cedar Woolley High. We'll see a Skagit throw-in. The sun begins to set to our west. Field bathed in the lighting here. As we near the 80th minute, Skagit still searching for their first goal.
Well, they're moving more players up front because throughout the match, predominantly they've been running one or two people forward. Now they have four. So, as in many sports, you just have to pull it out to see what you can do.
As Schultz will pressure. And sent forward to Hansen. Hansen almost in all alone. Nice tackle out of the back check here. Edwin Viejar does well to clear that out. Substitutes on. So Yakima will sub number 15 on. The numbers not in the roster that I was given, but nonetheless, 15 checks back into the match.
Well, it's a good opportunity if you've traveled over from Yakima to get a little bit of playing time.
Yeah, as they lead 3-0, and Skagit trying to negate a shutout here And they're a team that can definitely score. They scored 2 goals against the Salish Rangers in their Super Cup win back in March of this year.
Yep.
And put on a 2-0 performance against Vancouver. Again, the 4-3 loss to Bellingham, but still put on 3 goals as well. And then losses to the Surf and Everett Jets both saw a goal apiece. So,
yeah, I believe that when they were playing Salish Rangers, that they scored both those goals in the last 15 minutes.
incredible.
Yeah, they stay with it.
And since really the last goal came at about the 17th minute in the first half, but other than that, Yakima's been kept off the scoreline. So
Absolutely,
a
yeah.
tale of 2 halves here. And if you're Skagit, you got to be happy with the small victory of shutting them out in half number 2. Sent ahead, Ramirez. Ramirez was one of the mid-game substitutes. He'll take the ball in the box. Tries to work around a double team. Fasani flanking him. And Fasani will charge on the ball. Keeps it in, curls out. And too far out over the goal line for a Yakima goal kick. So we're into the 81st minute of play in the opening EPL WA 2025 Premier League match between Skagit and Yakima. Yakima looking to repeat as champs and perhaps double champs as well. You talked about, Tim, the Super Cup and the Premier League Cup here with the EPL WA.
Unfortunately, in 2025, they lost their initial match in the Super Cup to a team from Linwood, Pregame, that plays in UPSL. They lost by a goal. So
we'll see a new champ for the Super Cup.
Yes, absolutely. And that's how close the teams are, honestly.
Opportunity again, possessing well in the offensive third. Here's Hansen looking to carry. And a foul's called. If the result holds tonight, Yakima will push their regular season winning streak to 7 games, going 6-0 last year. That ended in a championship appearance and victory. It's always impressive when teams put together, Tim, win streaks that span over multiple seasons.
Yeah, and, you know, it's again a hallmark of the 20, 30-year history of the Vega family in the Yakima Valley. And kids, whenever I'm in the community, any place you go to a restaurant and stuff, everyone knows Hector and his wife Teresa, who's a major part of the administration. And, you know, Felix Cruz and his crew, Jaime, his coach, they're developing that here. Because I see many of the spectators have played in the adult leagues here for years, and it's their kids and their grandkids that are playing now. And that's how you build a club structure in the United States, which is kind of not what we do. But, we have good youth play in Northwest United, and we also have a second group that, which is Skagit Premier Youth Program as well, that Ricardo Avila has put together the last couple years. And when we do the Super Cup final, we think that we'll have the kids from the Skagit Premier Youth Group be ball kids, and also we're going to take donations for that youth program.
That would be excellent.
In lieu of charging any kind of an entry fee, because it is so important that kids get the support and the ability to play the game.
Well, and the chances are, Tim, too, even with the admission waive for the youngsters, that they'll beg mom and dad or grandma and grandpa to take them back again and again to matches. So that's how you, build a program from the youth up, and then that's how academy youth programs start as well. And several of the EPL teams have done some youth camps and programming like that, which is great. So there's a quick throw-in.
And I can tell you, both with Bellingham and with Yakima, kids grow up in those communities wanting to play for their local club. And the clubs go into schools sometimes and talk about what they do, and it's really, really good stuff.
There's Hansen again on the ball, walking the tightrope, and sent down for a corner here near side. Could be a good opportunity. And Hansen will take that corner. We have not seen a goal since the 17th minute, as Yakima looks to try and break that streak. Shot put on, but wide. And sent in again through traffic. Yatsuda with the snag. An opportunity now on the counter for Skagit. They'll whip it in. Opportunity just over the crossbar. That looked pretty good until it curled out at the last minute. A bit of English put on the ball and it rose above. Those are some of my favorite goals, Tim, are the crossbar down shots. Yeah. We almost saw one.
Well, it's easy to call the play from up here. While it was a good shot, he had someone open on the far post, and you know, those are the things when they all look at the video afterwards and analyze it. You get excited. You see that goal, and it gets about minuscule when you're shooting on it. So
there's another opportunity off the high pressure. Yakima stays composed. It's out of play. We're into the 87th minute of the match here. And that's skied away quickly and possessed near the center circle. Over to Schultz. And sent back towards Yatsuda's goal. And he's there to control. Schultz. Into midfield. Ball possessed still by Skagit on the far side, putting together a good run and a hard challenge. But the ball's over the touchline. Could we see some last-minute theatrics from Skagit as they look to notch at least a 1 on the board? Trying to work it back into the box and offsides. Into the 88th minute we go. So we have the Super Cup match featuring Skagit next week, and you said it was International FC, Tim?
FC International, yeah.
FC International, so that should be a pretty good one as well.
Oh, it was one of the best games I saw last year.
We hope to have you either on our stream or, better yet, experience the beautiful game here in Cedar Woolley in person. Get a marquee matchup, and that's what I like about the Super Cup, Tim, is it matches teams that don't always play each other,
right.
Like teams from the championship level up to the EPL.
Yeah.
Gaspar looking to thread it in. Ramirez popped up. Skagit relentlessly pursuing. High pressure, Fasani tried to knock it through the challenge. Here Schultz will gather. 89th minute. Schultz plays that over the goal line. And we'll have a goal kick. So we've hit the 90th minute here in the opening match between Skagit Athletic and Yakima United.
I would expect a little bit of added time because of the stoppage with the issue with the folks in the stands. So,
we've seen several cards this half and some injury stoppages, so I would take your side here with we'll see some bonus soccer here in Cedar Woolley.
Yep.
Hard challenges. They'll get the ball. Here's Portillo on it. Schultz switches sides. Back to Schultz. Everyone moving forward. Even Yatsuda's out. Played back in. Fasani on it. Here's Fasani. And chipped out Schultz now. Portillo will feed it back to Schultz. They'll play pass. Here's Schultz inside. Fasani kicked ahead. Ramirez from the 18 fires that one through. Is it actually Martinez, Danielle Martinez on the far side, wearing 69 tonight. Again, we're in stoppage time here in the season opener of the 2025 EPLWA Premiers. There's Schultz, burst of speed, steps through, sends it in the box. There's an opportunity just wide. And it will result in a Skagit corner here. Some excitement here towards the end of the match. There's the corner. Sent in, back post, just over the crossbar. Portillo lunging. As Skagit, several opportunities here. Again, they've kept Yakima off the score sheet in the entire second half here. The last goal from Yakima coming in the 17th minute. And there must be some West Ham fans on site blowing bubbles. Fans of Green Street Hooligans might appreciate that as well. West Ham, of course. They're a team that experienced some promotion and relegation, but they seem to be up top tier again.
Yep.
The chance to see the Hammers in Seattle. I think it was 2010 they played a friendly against the Sounders. And that was just after the ESC announced that they were going to boycott international club friendlies because they thought that the club should focus more on the regular schedule.
Yeah, the other interesting thing today was Wrexham actually getting promoted again.
Oh, wow.
So they've come up 3 levels to the championship.
Well, I guess they're going to have to make another season then on Hulu.
Yeah, all you need to do is get Hollywood big wigs and put their money in to do it.
And with that, we'll see the final whistle of this evening's match. It's Yakima United 3, Skagit 0 here on opening night in the EPLWA. Tim, before we sign off, final thoughts and conclusions here.
I think it's going to be a great season, and it's very enjoyable, and I appreciate the opportunity to hang with you.
It was great, Tim. For League President Tim Bush, I'm Merrick Parnell from here in Cedar Woolley. Again, 3-0 your final. Yakima defeating Skagit on the road.